Sí, pasa por la mia cabeza la possibilità di mudar o equipe, di mudar a strategia e, eu acho que o jogo da segunda parte mete más dúvida. Isto para mí é bom, é importante ter dúvida positiva e a verdade é que o jogo da segunda parte me mete máis dúvida. Isto é muito bom.
Man, you just heard it straight from Ancelotti himself. We have to change the team, change the strategy. That starting lineup that seemed locked in and untouchable, it completely fell apart after what the substitutes did in the second half. Brazil crushed Panama 6-2. The fans had a great time, sure. But the truth? The truth is that the bench completely outperformed the starters. They came on, changed the game, flipped everything in Brazil's favor, and handed Carlo Ancelotti a massive selection headache. The tactical setup was turned upside down. And pay attention here, even Neymar got caught in the middle of all this. Let me show you what could happen to Brazil's starting Vivi from now on. But before we get into who might be losing their spot in this tactical chess match, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. Now, let's get into it. Take a closer look at what actually happened at the Maracanã. You see that 6-2 scoreline against Panama, and your first reaction is, wow, Brazil is flying. Just hand us the World Cup already. But anyone watching with a more tactical eye, and I know you do, realized the story was far from perfect. The cold, hard truth is that the first half was sluggish, frustrating, and honestly a little concerning. Brazil's presumed starting lineup took the field and looked completely out of sync. Think about it. Aside from the center-back pairing of Leo Pereira and Bremer, who were filling in while Marquinhos and Gabriel Magalhaes were busy playing in the Champions League final, this was essentially Brazil's first-choice team. And what did we see? A team struggling badly to create chances. Brazil only looked dangerous when they could hit on the counter-attack. And let me ask you something. At the World Cup, especially during the group stage, do you really think opponents are going to attack Brazil head-on? Of course not. They're going to sit deep, park the bus, and force Brazil to break them down. The problem is that the starting lineup simply couldn't do that. There was no creativity, no killer pass splitting the defense apart. Then came the second half, and this is where Carlo Ancelotti's real headache begins. He made a few substitutions, and suddenly it looked like someone had flipped a switch. The team became more fluid. The high press started working. The intensity went through the roof. The substitutes didn't just play well, they completely took over the game and showed Ancelotti that, tactically speaking, Plan B was far more effective than Plan A. It was so convincing that the Italian manager himself admitted the performance created serious doubts in his mind ahead of Brazil's opening match against Morocco. And the symbol of that transformation in midfield has a name: Danilo from Botafogo. Seriously, keep an eye on this guy. Did Lucas Paquetá have a bad game? No, not at all. He created chances, picked up an assist, and scored. But Paquetá is more of a traditional playmaker. He slows things down, puts his foot on the ball, scans the field, and dictates the tempo. Danilo is different. Danilo attacks space aggressively. He bursts into the box. He has the engine to press high, track back defensively, and still bring energy and pace to the midfield. When Ancelotti sees that, he has to ask himself a difficult question. If I need this level of intensity to break down defensive teams at the World Cup, do I need to rethink my midfield structure? Should I sacrifice an attacker and add another dynamic midfielder instead? Danilo's performance put that question front and center. And right in the middle of all these tactical discussions, there's one player who suddenly finds himself under pressure. Neymar. Nobody can ignore what Neymar means to Brazil. He's an icon. More than 70,000 fans at the Maracanã were chanting his name. But football decisions are cold and calculated. Neymar is still recovering from a right calf injury. For now, he isn't even allowed to fully strike the ball or sprint at maximum intensity. And the big question is simple. Where exactly does he fit in this team? Ancelotti has already been very clear. Neymar doesn't have the legs to handle the demanding midfield role anymore. He can't provide the constant defensive work rate that players like Paquetá or Danilo bring. According to Ancelotti, Neymar's position is close to goal. Central. In attacking areas, he won't play as a traditional winger, he'll operate as an inside forward or attacking midfielder. But here's the problem. If Neymar plays centrally, who is he competing with? Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha. Vinicius Jr., the player Ancelotti helped turn into one of the best players in the world at Real Madrid, and Rafinha, whom Ancelotti has already described as one of the best attackers in the world when it comes to making runs in behind defenses. So Neymar's situation suddenly becomes complicated. The coach has effectively ruled out a midfield role for him, and the attacking positions are already occupied by players in outstanding form. Right now, it's not crazy to suggest that if the system remains unchanged, Brazil's number 10 could begin the World Cup on the bench. Let's get straight to the point. What's the biggest takeaway from this 6-2 win over Panama? Carlo Ancelotti is now staring at a whiteboard full of question marks. And one thing is crystal clear. Nobody's spot is guaranteed anymore. Commentator Natalia Fiuza summed it up perfectly. Think about the type of opponents Brazil will face in the World Cup group stage. Teams sitting deep, defending with everyone behind the ball, waiting for one chance on the counter. That's exactly what we saw in the first half. Brazil's starters struggled to unlock a compact defense. The second-half team, however, with Danilo driving the midfield at a much higher tempo, completely dominated. And now, Ancelotti faces a huge tactical dilemma ahead of the Morocco match. Does he have the courage to remove a natural attacker and add another midfielder just to gain the intensity and creativity that were missing in the opening 45 minutes? And that decision directly affects Neymar. We've already established that he won't be Brazil's primary playmaker and that his place is further forward, competing directly with Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha. So what's the most realistic scenario right now? Neymar becomes Brazil's impact substitute, the superstar weapon coming off the bench in the second half. Or, if everything goes according to plan, he could work his way back into the starting lineup by the third group stage match against Scotland in Miami, allowing Ancelotti to rotate his squad before the knockout rounds. In the end, this friendly delivered exactly what it was supposed to. Brazil got the win. The fans were entertained. The squad gained confidence. But it also sent a powerful message inside the dressing room. Reputation alone no longer guarantees a place in Carlo Ancelotti's team. That's the reality. Ancelotti's tactical board is on fire right now. Neymar has lost that untouchable status, and if he wants to compete with Vinicius Jr., who, whether people like it or not, is currently the face of this team, he's going to have to earn it on the field. Now I want to hear from you. If you're Carlo Ancelotti and you've just watched the substitutes outperform the starters, do you have the courage to leave Neymar on the bench at the World Cup? Or would you sacrifice an attacker to fit Danilo into the midfield and strengthen the center of the pitch? Drop your honest opinion in the comments because this debate is going to be intense, and I want to know where you stand. And if you enjoyed today's discussion, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future updates and behind-the-scenes coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.